T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Coach on Fire Radio.
I've been taken for your doctor. Moon, moon on the water, lay me down upon your altar.
Hey, thank you, Rachel Hamer, for that great tune. You can reach her at rachelhamer.com/music. And you are tuned in to Sacred Erotic with Gila Nehemia. And we have a special guest with us today, Laura Di Franco. I will let her introduce herself. Laura, can you give us a little bio?
Oh my goodness, I'm not going to read my bio. That's totally boring. Actually, you're giving me a really great opportunity to figure out what the hell I want to say about myself on these things. Anyhow, I'm happy to be here, Gila. Oh my goodness, you're doing some amazing things in the world. And I just feel so grateful to have met you and about all the collaborations we've created together since that day. It seems pretty amazing to me, but hey everybody, I've been a holistic physical therapist for like 25 years, and I've also been a writer for probably longer than that. And once upon a time, a little bit ago, I kind of put all the healing tools I've learned over my career together with the therapeutic writing tools, and I am teaching a brave kind of healing with a combination of all those tools. And I just had a book come out called Brave Healing, and I'm really excited about all of that right now. And it's been an amazing journey. So is that enough about me, Gila?
Well, we have another 30 minutes to go, so we'll get into that. But yes, thank you for that bio. We've just tuned in. I'm Gila Nehemia. I'm a sacred erotic love coach, and you can find more information about me at wildridersheal.com. So I want to talk to you today, Laura, about your book. If you can give us a little more information. I was actually an advanced reader of Laura's book, so I do have some knowledge. I wanted you to talk a little bit about awareness, your body awareness, and what kind of messages people can learn from just being more aware of their body.
Yeah, my goodness. And awareness, and I think body awareness specifically, is the foundation for a life of joy, honestly. And the book is written in a way that is every other chapter is a toolkit chapter, a tool. And what I'm doing is I'm guiding people through the body awareness exercise and then combining it with a writing exercise. And it's a way to connect with a place inside of yourself that really is your intuition. It's your inner warrior. It's your soul. And I don't say those things lightly, because I've learned that connecting with that place is pretty damn magical. How you do that is by giving yourself permission to feel on every single level. Feel and notice and practice being aware of sensations and emotions and thoughts and the way that you're responding and reacting in the world. And when we show up inside of feeling, that's a different life than showing up constantly overthinking and overanalyzing and being triggered and reacting to everything. And so, that awareness is really the foundation for a life that feels much different, much more alive than the other one. Sounds like a judgment, doesn't it? And so, I'm very, very aware of telling people what's right and what's wrong in the world. So if you're coming at the world with awareness, is that like the right way to be? I don't even know anymore, seriously. And I just wrote a whole fucking book about it, right? So, but I do know from experiences that when I'm feeling, I'm more responsive and less reactive. And I think that's probably the most simple way to put it.
I think that's a really good point. We were, just for the audience, we were talking beforehand, and and talking about feelings. And I think I'd like to dive into that a little bit, just in terms of, when you said you kind of show up with feelings rather than, at least the way I heard it, rather than being over analytical or analyzing with your logical mind, we show up differently. So maybe we could talk about, I know for me, when I show up differently, I'm feeling more with my heart. I'm, usually when I'm feeling, that's where it's coming from. And I connect better with people. I'm more receptive to them. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, you're always integrating mind, body, soul in every moment. It's just whether or not you know you're doing that. So I think what happens to me is that if I'm feeling some kind of way about something, and then I add meaning to it, and the thoughts start to go into overdrive, and I start to make up stuff about that feeling, that gets me sucked down the pit faster than anything. So the practice for me has been just allowing the feeling. And I'm talking about some of the hard stuff like doubt and fear and uncertainty, and even things like shame, where the feeling can be so intense inside of your body. And lots of us were taught not to feel that, or we were given tricks to numb it up. And there are a lot of us who feel that stuff and really don't want to feel that stuff. And so we drink maybe, or do drugs, or we go into some of what I call the healthy addictions, like over-exercise or even workaholism, because those things are distractions for the actual physical feeling of whatever it is, right? But, and this journey is not for sissies. I say that a lot because it takes something to be vulnerable and be inside of your feelings and then show up inside of your life, especially with other people in the relationships that matter to you the most, in that way. We always feel like that our vulnerability is a weakness, or whatever. I mean, that's kind of a hot topic right now, right? Vulnerability as a strength versus a weakness. And what does that even mean? Well, I think it just means we're showing up and allowing our feelings, and we're communicating from a place of feeling. You said your heart. Yeah, heart, soul, some other place, right? Some other place that knows, and it's a knowing. And unless you were taught to trust that knowing, you probably spent most of your life having no idea what that was and no way to know if it was real or not. So nowadays I practice feeling the feelings, and I practice trusting the knowing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. Of course. For those of you who are listening, I've talked about this as well before, that, just trusting your intuition, trusting your body, trusting your heart, not trusting your mind. I mean, and you're right, Laura, it does come together. Sometimes I put them in polar opposites, but I guess I have to make a distinction about the ego and make feeling small versus that real feeling of limitlessness, which is something I have been trying to focus on. And when I'm in my body and really feeling, then there is that feeling of limitlessness. There are no societal constraints. When I'm in a specific kind of space. I was wondering if you connected that to that as well.
Yeah, well, you're making me think of something I've written down before. Don't believe everything you think. And I add on to that, but go ahead and trust what you feel.
Right.
And so if you're connected to the sensations in your body, then essentially you're connected to the language of your intuition and soul. It speaks in sensation and feeling. And so when you start to get to know that language, life gets pretty magical, I think. When you start to think it all instead, oh my goodness, that limitless feeling goes away, and it starts to feel very boxed in, very rule oriented, very constricted and tight and constrained. And those things now, because I can feel them inside of me, speak to me pretty quickly, and I can flip the switch a little bit and aim myself towards something that gives me that light, free, limitless feeling again, right? So right now we're talking about how you feel and understand the language. It's very powerful thing to practice.
Yeah, I was been doing this. Someone I know, she had this 22 minutes of bliss. So it was like this exercise that was part of a meditation with music and dance and awareness and breathing, and to get you into that ecstatic, blissful state. And each time I did it, you know, I was doing it for a few days, sometimes not. It was about a 9-day thing. It just opened me up to like other realms, you know, if you kind of know what I mean. It's just really not being in the boxed in, like really say, like pushing myself to the edge. It's that edginess of like, it doesn't matter what happens. I know I am, you know, like that kind of really in my body, and that whole kind of warrior type, actually that badass kind of warrior feeling. Of course, there are situations where I still feel, you know, I'm still kind of distraught, but if I could take myself back to that feeling, it was amazing.
Yeah, you're talking about big opportunities for pretty interesting experiences, and you're making me think about the fact that normal everyday life is really the harder thing to navigate. Like we can sit and meditate, and we can go through bliss meditations, and we can do these amazing sort of journeys to these other levels of consciousness. I'm blanking on another word I wanted to use to describe that. But honestly, and one of my healers, you know, looked at me and said, honestly, it's your everyday life that's the bigger challenge. And if you can come at the relationships and the struggles and the pain and the everyday things, you know, taking care of your kids when you really rather just go to bed, that type of thing. If you can do that with a level of awareness and, you know, maybe sprinkled with a little self-compassion, little love, little kindness, I think really that's the big test. And I agree with you that when you practice meditation in any form, mindfulness, meditation, body awareness, any practice that brings you into another state of consciousness, isn't that the coolest thing? Like before I knew that that was a thing, or when I just first learned that it was a thing, I thought, whoa, okay. And I had this little window into life in a big, big way. Basically, the message was, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So to be able to practice those types of exercises and put yourself into a mindset that you then bring back into your daily life, right? That's the magic. I think that's the magic.
Right. I think that's true. I think it's you're right. It's great to have those experiences, but then to integrate them into your daily life, that's a challenge. And that is actually, it's a magic, right? It's like just a way to really, that's the full integration, I think, of living in a completely different mind state.
Totally. And get ready for people not to like it. And so that's that, right? I mean, so here you are showing up with this, whoever you are, you know, your authentic self, your unapologetic self, your expressive self, maybe for the first time in 40 years. And people look at that and they kind of look at you sideways and think, ooh, I don't know if I like her like that. Like I kind of liked her the way she was before, you know, just kind of quiet, following the rules and doing things how I liked it. And I'm just speaking from experience with colleagues, sometimes old colleagues, maybe family members, you know, you guys know the people that have been the biggest challenges, and they all know you as that old person from the past who was living very constrained and constricted. You evolve into a person who is unapologetic about who they are and expressing out loud in the world. And I'm going to spin it positively for your listeners. You will then make new friends. So don't worry about losing the old ones, because the new friends you make are going to mean the most as far as the life you're living now and how those people and that community lift you up and support you in all the different things you're doing. It's important.
Yeah, you're right. It's actually been my experience. That's been actually happening to me at the moment, where all these new people are coming